Hello, my sweet kids. Today I want to tell you a story about a dog named Dandy. Now, in our lives, when Uncle Seth was growing up, he had a dog, and his name was Dandy. And this story is kind of about him. So once there was a dog named Dandy, and he lived in a house or with a nice big yard with a fence around it, with his family and with his person, Seth. Seth was his boy, and Dandy was his dog. Dandy had lived with Seth ever since he was a little puppy, and he really liked him, and they played. And they played and they played and they ran and they jumped and they skipped and they hopped, and Seth threw balls and Dandy caught them, and they just had a good life together. And Dandy would be in the house when Seth was home, and then during the day when Seth went to school, Dandy went outside in the yard, and they left him out there in the yard to play. And Seth would say to him every day, "Now, Dandy, this is your yard. Don't go outside the yard. There's a fence there, and it protects you. And if you go out there, there's things out there that could really hurt you." And so Dandy was like, "Whoa, okay, Seth." He didn't say it. He said, "Woof, woof, woof," to Seth. But he listened to what he said. So every day, Seth would come home from school, and he'd come out to Dandy, Dandy. And Dandy'd run, and they'd play, and they'd play, and they'd play. So one day, and then when Seth was gone, Dandy would sit underneath a tree, and he would walk around the fence, and he would play, and he would just, kick some rocks around and all those things. So one day he heard, while he was out there in the yard, he heard some other dogs. So he went over to the fence, woof, 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 to see who was there. And 2 dogs walked up. And Dandy goes, "Hi, my name's Dandy. Who are you?" And one dog with a skinny long nose said, "I'm Leroy." And one dog that was a short little boxer dog said, "I'm Butch." And so Butch was a boxer, and Leroy was just a kind of a scroungy looking, big, kind of skinny dog. So anyway, Danny went, "Well, hi, what are y'all doing?" And they go, "Oh, we've been running around, and we've been eating all kinds of good food." Oh, Dandy's ears perked up, because Dandy loves to eat. He loved food. He really, really, really loved food. It was one of his favorite things. So he said, "Well, what have you been eating?" They said, "Well, we've been eating pizza, and we've been eating chicken, we've been eating french fries, we've been eating hamburgers." Oh, wow. All those things that Dandy liked. And he goes, "Well, where are you getting it from?" He goes, "Oh, we just go around during the day, and we check out the garbage cans, and we just get some all good food. You want to come with us?" And Danny goes, "Oh, no." He goes, "My boy Seth said I shouldn't leave the yard. I just need to stay here, and I'll be safe." They both just started laughing. "You mean you believe your boy? There's so much stuff out here that's bigger and so much more fun." And Danny goes, No, I got to listen to my boy." And they said, "Well, you could just go, and you could be back by the time he got home, and they would never know." Danny goes, No, and he just walked right to the other side of the yard. Well, every day, Butch and Leroy would come up to the fence and talk to Dandy. And after a while, Dandy started listening more to them than to his boy Seth. And so he started thinking about, during the day, instead of just going out and playing and having fun, he started thinking of ways that he could get out of the fence and go and play with Butch and Leroy and eat bunches and bunches and bunches of food. So that night, when his boy Seth came home, he said Seth was talking to his family, and Dandy kind of heard him say that there was some dogs that had been getting into garbage cans, and they were going to send these guys out from the pound, and they were going to get them. But Dandy didn't really listen, because he wasn't even really listening to his boy Seth anymore. He just wanted to get out. So the next day, after Seth left for school, here comes Leroy and Butch. And Dandy said, guys, he goes, if I can find some way to get out of this fence, he goes, I'll come with you. And they said, hey, we'll help you right now. You start digging from your side of the fence, and we'll start digging from this side, and in a minute, you'll be out of there. So Dandy started digging, and Butch and Leroy were digging on the other side. Before long, there was a hole, and Dandy was kind of fat, and he scrunched his fat little body down in there and out the hole to the other side, and he was free, and he went running up and down the street. I'm free. Run. His tail was wagging, run. Whoa, he was having fun. Come on, Leroy. Come on, Butch. Let's run. And where's the food? Come on, let's go get some food. So then they went up to a garbage can, and Leroy pushed on it, and the can fell over, and they started pulling the trash out, and Dandy stood back, and he was like, uh-oh. His boy Seth said, never knock the trash can down. And he just stood there and just kind of looked, and they went, come on, Dandy, come on. Come get some food. And Dandy picked some pizza that was in there. He thought, well, trash can's already down. Maybe I'll just go get me a bite. And so he walked over and he started, oh, this is pretty good. And he chewed on it. They went through that trash can. Before long, Dandy was knocking the trash cans down just as much as the other guys. And he had some chicken. He had burgers. He had fries. He had Mexican food. It was all so yummy. And there was a piece of chocolate cake. And he ate every bit of that. And so he was feeling kind of full, and he was just having such a good time. And all of a sudden he heard these sirens. Woo, 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 woo. And they surrounded him. And Butch and Leroy took off running. And Danny was so scared, he just stood there. Oh my gosh. It was the dog catchers. And they came and they got around Dandy, and they put a leash on him. And they put him in the back of a closed-in truck, and they shut the door. And Dandy was in there by himself. Oh no, what's happening? Am I going to jail? Oh no, what am I going to do? And so they drove, and then they got him to this place, and they took him out, and they said, bad dog. And they took him, and they put him in a room, and they shut the door, and they put some water in there, and then they just left. And Dandy was in there all by himself. Oh, he started whimpering. Oh no, what have I done? What have I done? He realized that Seth was right, that he should have stayed inside the fence. And so he just went, oh, I'm so sorry. I wish I wouldn't have been disobedient. I wish I wouldn't have been so disobedient. And he just laid there, and he cried, and he cried, and he cried. And before long, he just fell asleep. He thought, right before he fell asleep, he thought, oh my gosh, I may spend the rest of my life like this in this jail just because I disobeyed. Oh man. And then he fell asleep. Then he heard the door opening up, and he heard, oh, it was his boy, Seth's voice. Dandy. And Dandy jumped up, and he ran to him. And Seth's mom and dad were there, and said, Dandy, we came to take you home. Why did you do that? And so Dandy just slumped his head down, and he came along, and Seth petted him, and all the way home he kept his head over on Seth's lap, and he was like, he just was so sad what he had done. And then when they got back to the house, he went and he just slunk down, and Seth came and sat by him, and he said, Dandy, you are not a good dog, but I hope you learned something from this. And Dandy said, yeah. He just kind of went, yeah, to himself. But to Seth, he went, and laid his head on Seth. And Seth said, Dandy, I tell you these things because I love you. And Dandy went, And inside he went, I love you too, Seth. And Dandy decided after that he would listen to his boy Seth and hear what he had to say, and he would trust him. The end. So that's the story of Dandy. You can ask Uncle Seth about Dandy. We have all kinds of stories about him when he was a puppy and with all the things he did. So Grammy's got to go now, and I'm going to send you a big hug. Are you ready for the hug? Ready, ready, ready. Hug, 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 hug. And remember, if you need somebody to talk to, you can always talk to Jesus. He loves you so much. Bye.